Mild spoilers are present in this episode.
Third World Cinema Club.
Hello and welcome to Third World Cinema Club. I'm John Tawasel from Present Confusion.
Hi, I'm Princess Kinok of Film Police Reviews.
And I'm Jim of Jimmy Ticulate Bapa.
And on this very rainy day, we're recording to talk about the recently concluded Sea Shorts Film Festival. So Sea Shorts is a film festival that features short films from all around Southeast Asia. So ano ba mga Southeast Asian countries? Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand,
Cambodia.
Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos. Nakalimutan pa ako Brunei, Singapore.
Oh my gosh, hindi ko na maano din.
Geography.
My goodness, Geography 101.
Kailangan mo ng geography.
Oo nga.
So, we've all watched a lot of films from the festival. I watched all of them. I'm sure my colleagues here have also watched their fair share. So we will be talking about 6 films in particular. To start off, we will start with a Thai film. So this is from Competition 4. It's called Red Aninsri or Tiptoeing on the Still Trembling Berlin Wall, directed by Ratchapum Bombung Chatchoke. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but I apologize. So the film is about a ladyboy prostitute cum spy who is assigned to a mission to disguise as a cis masculine gay to spy on a student activist. So, Jim, what are your thoughts on Red Aninsri?
So una-muna bigyan ko ng idea din. So basahin ko lang muna yung overview from Letterboxd. So the film follows the convention of Thai cinema during the Cold War, where every actor is dubbed by the voice that suits their roles. The hero sounds heroic and the villain sounds villainous. Ang a transgender sex worker or ladyboy with a pretty feminine voice is assigned a special mission as an undercover spy. She disguises herself as a cisgender man to enter into a romantic relationship with Jit, a belligerent yet idealistic student activist with an evil voice. Ang must extract information from Jit. However, the mission goes or as she slowly falls for him. Apolitical at first, Ang is slowly awakened by Jit to see the other world where people speak in another way. So, this is my favorite among na napanood ko in Sea Shorts. Kasi from the start, na-capture na niya agad yung attention ko. So, at first, akala ko, is this parang tribute sa Chungping Express? Kasi yung nakita ko siya.
Yung wig.
Yung wig, si Bridget Lin. Diba, yung sa part ni Takeshi Kaneshiro. So, edi syempre, eto na yung sige po, nunuorin ko to kasi parang baka mag-buwong parway, gano'n. Tapos biglang, hindi pala siya gano'n. Diba yung I thought at first. Kasi hindi ko nabasa yung synopsis or summary ng film. So I don't have any idea. Kasi ganun ang ugali ko pag nanonood talaga ng film. I don't read much about the synopsis of the summary. So, nung napapanood ko na siya, nakuha niya attention ko because the lead character is a ladyboy. So, alam naman natin na in Thailand is a gay capital of Asia. So, very open sila pagdating sa sexuality ng tao. And it was also discussed here as politics yung sexuality. Because yung mission niya was to follow Jet, which who's a student activist. And then yung intention or the motive is siya yung mahulog sa kanya. However, it happened the other way. Diba, na si Ang nahulog na kay Jet. So, well, eventually, later on, they will have feelings for each other. However, torn na kasi si Ang regarding dun sa mission niya and yung feelings niya with Jet. So, maganda dito, nakita natin, nagkaroon ng character development yung si Ang. Hindi na siya yung tumitingin lang as, ay this is a mission that I need to finish. Pero kailangan na niyang tulungan na maka-escape yung niya, yung target niya, which is si Jill. Tapos kakaiba lang because, di ba, throughout the film, hindi talaga yung pinaka-voice nila yung maririnig mo. It's dubbed. So, I'm not familiar with the Thai mga TV series. Mostly kasi ang alam ko lang Aminado BL series. Yan. Pinapan ko sa episodes.
Pero tayo, ginagawa natin yan, di ba, Jim? Sa mga, di ba nag-ADR tayo?
Kasi yun, tawag dun mga canned programs. Mga, kunyari, from Mexico, yung palabas, idadub natin. Pero kasi with them, I don't know kung ano yung culture nila with them. I'm not familiar, I'm sorry, hindi ko siya na-research.
I think
So
even,
parang kakaiba sa akin kasi dub siya.
I think even with Philippine cinema, Jim, we still, people dub over the voices of the actors dati. Kasi, di ba, there was no reliable way to get
Capture
sound naturally. Famously nga, di ba, yung si Joyce Jimenez, kaboses niya talaga si Gloria Arroyo, pero may nag-dub over sa boses niya in a lot of her films. Kaya iba talaga iba yung Joyce Jimenez na narinig natin kaysa sa Joyce Jimenez na totoo.
Kasi when you say dubbing kasi noon, yung voice dubbing kasi natin noon, iba kasi siya. Pag nangyayari yun, pag kunyari, sa schedule, conflict ng schedule ng actor, doon bininadab ang voice noon. Saka di ba parang mag-sing kasi before yun ang problema, hindi nag-sing. Unlike ngayon kasi mas, na tayo, when it comes to technology advance na. Go ahead, sorry, nakaka.
Ay, okay lang. Di ba si Charlene din, notorious din na dub yung kasi yung accent niya. Charlene Gonzalez. Same with Joyce daw kasi accent niya mabigat.
Mabigat niya accent.
Accent na American.
Okay.
At yung napapansin ko before si Anjanette Abayari. Yun,
Oo.
Dub din yung voice mo.
Speaking of Red, ginagustuhan ko rin siya actually. Tapos yun nga, ito yung gusto ko sabihin kanina backstage. As in, may pinanood kasi ako before yung Red, parang side din siya dito within this festival. Hindi ko na lang in-name drop. Parang sabi ko, alam mo, hindi ko talaga makonect yung Thai cinema. Parang ganyan. Kahit si Apichat Pong, parang minsan, kailangan ko pa siyang panoorin ulit. Ganyan. Although maganda siya cinematically, cinematic-wise, ganyan. Yun, kasi yun talaga yung purpose niya. Parang very existential siya. Tapos yun. Tapos walking into Red, talagang sabi ko, ayoko na, sabi lang, ay hindi, okay na pala. Kasi gusto ko rin palang malaman, I think since si John, mas marami kang experience sa amin in terms of Asian cinema. Sabi dito din, spoiler alert guys, dun sa film, siya parang ang sabi niya, based siya sa lumang Thai films. Tama ba?
Yeah.
So, parang inspired siya from yun. So, does it, yung sa niya, yung color, themes niya at the same time, tsaka yung dubbing, ganun ba yung ginagawa ng old Thai cinema?
In terms of, Thai cinema started in the late 1800s, no? It's halos kasing tanda natin siya. And maraming yung tawag dito, back in the day in Thai cinema, no? When they transitioned from silent films to talkies, may dubbing method na nangyari na dun sa loob ng sinehan, someone would speak Thai into a microphone while the film is playing at the back of the theater. So it's not just dubbing per se. Dubbing na yung done separately in another studio. No, it's done live in the cinema. So I think that's what they were trying to go for, no? And then ayun, yung quality ng mga ganun no, espionage thrillers, and it reflects din the
Political.
yung time political period. Pero sa akin, ako personally, here's my take on the film, no. Red Onions 3, parang central theme talaga is identity.
Yes.
'di ba?
Mm-mm.
So given na I will preface this by saying na as a cis, a hetero person, I'm not the most qualified to speak about it. Pero kita mo naman yung subtext na tipong the director used dubbing to
Mm.
to express speaking in a voice that is not yours. So when trans people speak, when LGBTQ people speak, they are forced to, hide it hide it in their society. So they speak with a voice that is not their own. Yung mga taong in the closet, yung hindi ladlad or hindi out in the open. Kasi paradoxically, no, sabi nga ni Jim, Thailand is yung capital sa ng parang gay capital
of Asia.
of Asia. But surprisingly, the culture there is also paradoxically very conservative. So although it's similar here in the Philippines where in popular culture, they are not as much accepted as they are parang tolerated sometimes. Yun yung nagiging feeling ko. Of course, again, I will preface this by saying I'm not Thai. I do not completely know about the culture. Pero based lang dun sa what I observed, that's what I got out from it. And although I may be wrong, that's the first like 2/3 of the film. It's a search for identity. And when the activist character and the spy character, they start speaking in their own voices, doon sila ginamit or nahuli ng gobyerno. Diba? And the parang bridging sequence between the second third and the final third of the film, na yung tipong may interrogation na nangyayari, is that this coming out can be used by oppressive regimes in the guise of parang we're with you, pero they're still working for their own designs, kumbaga. Like yung mga companies na tipong we're painting this in a rainbow color. Yay, Pride Month. Pero sa totoo lang, I mean, they still discriminate against LGBTQ, parang ganon. They're using the language and the ideology to further their own without concern to the LGBTQ community as it is. And the last act of this one is parang a self-processing of what's come before. Kasi it's set up like a therapy session, di ba?
Yes.
Parang find your own voice, ganon. Pero napansin mo to sa find your own voice when this guy related a very erotic, yung mga homoerotic story to his peers, sinasabi nung main, yung facilitator, yung moderator na, we don't talk about that, di ba? They discourage it. So, ayun it's dun pumapasok yung paradox There is this urge to, express yourself, go, ganun. Pero there's that paradox na express yourself, but don't express yourself also in this particular way. Express yourself in the way we want you to express yourself. So there's parang another level going there. Kaya actually, in all of the films dito sa C-Shorts, this is one of the most, kumbaga, thematically nag-resonate sa akin. Kasi ang dami niyang laman ang dami niyang layers. And it's a bit silly, it's a bit serious, pero yun, enjoy ko siya. Ayun, Ces, any final thoughts or any more thoughts before we move on to the next film?
Ayun, gusto ko lang yung naging touch niya na, we know na, siya, parang transgender capital of the world. Pero, yun nga, kasi diba parang ladyboy daw siya, ganyan. So, very interesting touch lang na napag-merge niya yung dalawang political themes na yun na yung sa transgender, tsaka sa, prevalence ng iba-ibang nananakop sa Thailand nung time na yun. So, yun lang.
Ayun. Let's go on to the next film. This one is the first film of Competition 1. It's a Malaysia and Taiwanese parang hybrid film by Yam Kinwai. It's called Pulang. So the synopsis for this one is Yahweh takes his girlfriend home to Malaysia. Then he tells his parents of his engagement, and this decision sparks off some changes between them. So who'd like to talk first about Pulang?
So si Pulang actually is one of my favorites in this festival. Una kasi, very interesting siya na napag-merge niya rin yung dalawang culture ng Malay at saka ng Taiwanese. So si Taiwanese, syempre, although they're a republican country, tas parang they veered away from China, pero yung tradition talaga ng bawat Taiwanese is rooted pa rin dun sa traditions ng Chinese na parang dapat may dowry kapag kakasal or parang may mga ceremonies na fina-follow, ganyan. So yun. So tapos yung Pulang, para siyang menudo na masa-surprise ka kung ano yung klase ng menudo na iluluto sa household na binisita mo. Parang yung isang household may green peas, yung isa namang household walang green peas, parang ganun. Or yung isang household gumagamit ng liver spread, yung isa hindi. Ganun. So, para siyang ganun. Kasi yung makikita mo na yung emotions ng ng characters nag-stir up by the second, kasi ilang minutes na to. So by the second, nagsi-stir up yung iba-iba nilang emotions. Personally, never ako nagka-problem sa mga in-laws. So para sa akin, very interesting to see na, ganun pala yun pag may conflict.
So may ganun dyan.
Oo, hindi, alam mo yun.
Sana all.
Very,
Sana all.
mas may ano pa yun. Then naninibago ko na, alam mo yun, para siyang, si Scenes of a Marriage ni Ingmar Bergman, parang may root cause kung ba't sila nag-away, which is because yung isang partner hindi siya talaga bet ng family, mga ganun. Pero mas magiging horror for you on that part is yung marriage na nag-fall apart. Paano kung kunwari hindi pa sila kasal? So yun yung pinapakita ni Pulang na parang it's not just yung what ifs or doubts ng isang relationship. It's actually yung ano naman nasasabihin ng tradition. Hindi lang ng family, pero yung tradition na parang dapat yung girl ganito, ganyan, dapat ganyan. So, yun.
Yeah. Ako, as someone na dapat ikakasal na soon, pero yun nga, that tayo sa pandemic, na-feel ko to. And it's a very nicely done character study about parents and children, di ba? Accepting the fact that your children are moving on, getting married. Kasi syempre, yung kung mapapansin mo, they're trying to control pa din yung anak mo. It should be like this. Feel ko yung mga tipong only children, mafe-feel nila yan. Kasi they want the parents of those children tend to, well, in general, tend to, be very involved in their children's lives unless you're not that kind of parent. In addition, na-interest ako dun sa sinabi ni Princess na cultural differences. Kasi I'm not sure if this has any weight. Pero would there be a difference in how Malaysian Chinese view Taiwanese people? Kasi although they're all Chinese naman sila lahat, iba-iba naman yung iba-iba yung cultural parang backgrounds pa rin nila. Parang how do mainlanders view Taiwanese? How do mainlanders view Malaysian Chinese? How do mainlanders view Singaporean Chinese? How do Singaporean Chinese and Malaysian Chinese view each other? Parang ngayon ko lang naisip yun, no? Very interesting point of view. I'm not of course I don't know the cultural context, so I can't speak to that. Pero I'm sure there's something there for Malaysians and maybe Taiwanese and maybe Chinese in general to enjoy. Yan, Jim, ikaw, what are your thoughts on Pulang?
Gusto ko rin yung Pulang. Kasi at first palang dramdam mo na yung tension, di ba, nung parents and then yung anak niya and then yung ipapakilala niya palang na fiancé niya. Kasi ang mga parents may expectations yan kung sino yung mapapangasawa mo. And at the same time, may expectation din sila sa'yo as ikaw na mag-aasawa. So, syempre on that part, solo solo child. Diba, uniko siya. So, lalong nandun yung tension na, nandun na yung mga, tawag dito? misconception ng parents na dapat ganito yung mapapangasawa, dapat ganyan, ganun. So, yung nga nabanggit niyo dyan kanina of the cultural context, which is hindi rin naman ako familiar with the Malaysian and Taiwanese culture. Kung ganun din ba, meron bang discrimination? Meron bang um, judgment? Kaya ganun yung treatment, di ba? Pero ang maganda naman doon, at the end of the short film, kailangan talagang magkaroon pa ng yung flat ng tire para magkaroon ng bonding. Di ba yung anak saka yung yung mapapangasawa. Very relatable siya sa mga Asian. I'm not sure with the with the Western, pero sa Asian ganyan. Ganyan
Southeast
talaga.
Asian families, ganyan.
Ganyan na ganyan.
Saka gusto ko yung ganyang details na hindi niya literal na parang nasa dialogue. Or nasa dialogue siya, pero peppered siya, alam niyo yun. Na yan, kunyari, yung differences in culture. Tsaka kasi, kunyari, yan, yung girl. Spoiler alert, guys. Yung girl, mag-isa lang siyang umattend doon. Although in-invite lang siya. Pero normally kasi, I think, di ba parang pag mga fixed marriage, di ba? Parang in-expect nila kasi ma-fixed marriage yung anak nila na guy. May ganung parte na parang hindi na tinaloy ng nanay kasi nga, nandun yung girl. So parang, ang galing na, okay, si girl siguro parang nasa siya, yung liberated na Chinese.
Yeah.
Na hindi na kailangan ng
Tapos may parang theme na
supervision.
traditionalist versus yung medyo liberal.
Yung modern
understanding of relationships. Kasi
galing.
I'm sure yung mag-asawa dun sa pulang na nanay at tatay baka they might have been brought together by an arranged something arranged, diba? Something like that.
Oh, galing.
So, yun. Let's move on to the next film. This one is from Competition 2. It's called Bin, by director Austin Pham. So this is a joint production of Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, and South Korea. So it's a black and white film where there's an alien who comes to Earth to build a home, and then upon while he's being instructed by his spaceship, he comes across this construction site, and then he meets all of these different individuals with different conceptions of home. So who'd like to talk about Bin?
For Bin, ang observation ko, gorgeously shot siya. So yung niya, cinematography niya. Ganon. And at the same time, ang ganda nung the way na yung alien is also finding an identity in our Earth. And then suddenly, na-discover niya na iba yung the temple, and then nandun yung yung fake medium, di ba? Na ginagawa lang pala yun ng fake medium to survive. Kasi di ba ang sinakyan niya na nag-hitchhike siya sa mga construction workers.
Yes.
So nandun yung part na may economic may economic issues na dinidiscuss to the part na parang industrialization na yung yung pinapakita din. And at the same time, pinapakita din ng film na there's still a survival of the fittest. Hindi lang ng alien, kasi yung alien kasi naghahanap siya ng para siyang refugee nga actually in this in this Earth. Pero nakita niya na dito pala sa Earth, ganun din, mayroong may survival of the fittest, which is happening especially now na pandemic. Although in the film hindi naman discuss na may pandemic. So, yun yung ang ganda lang nung film on that part. Kahit na quiet siya, slow pace, tapos yung alien, ilang dialogue lang. Pero yun ang maganda dun sa film nandun pinakita yung connection na hindi nalalayo yung quest ng identity, and at the same time yung recognition of the survival of the fittest ng tao or anumang creature.
Actually, parang all of the sea shorts, or hindi naman all, most of the sea shorts are films that deal with identity. Ano ba yung lugar ko, di ba? This film in particular, it's discussing yun nga, tama si Jim well, I agree with Jim na it discusses yun nga, the concept of what home is to people. Kasi home is inextricably linked to identity din. So kung ano ka defines what you define home to be. And it can apply to refugees. Kasi, di ba, we have, refugees coming here from wherever. It also applies to yung lumalabas sa diaspora. So, people not just from the Philippines, but from Indonesia, Malaysia, they work overseas. They have jobs in different countries. They're finding meaning or they're finding home when they're not physically home. Kumbaga. And yeah, I see, yun lang. There's not much to say. It's very nicely shot. I like the effects at end. It's a spoiler, but something happens at the end. It's very nice. And yeah, I like it. Says your thoughts on Bill.
Ano siya, gusto ko yung effects din nung sa end niya. And also yung little touches like yung the way he communicates with the outer space.
Mhm.
Alam mo yun, hindi siya kailangan ng bonggang effects. I mean, you would expect na magkakaroon ng ganun kasi isipin mo sci-fi kasi alien siya, ganyan. Pero dito, parang they did it in such a way na he's blending in, pero he's actually not a part of this society. Pero he blended in so well. So gusto ko yung treatment na ginawa nila on that. And yeah, I agree with you guys na it's nicely put for identity crisis in a way.
Yan. So let's go to the next film. The next film is actually the last quote unquote film in the whole festival program. It's part of competition 5. A Singaporean film by Shelby Ko. It's called I Took a Nap and I Miss You. It's a story about 3 women living in Singapore. It's a documentary style treatment. Now you see them discussing their hang-ups, what's bothering them. One of them is a middle-aged mom. The other one is her parang teenage daughter, and the youngest, of course, is this kid, 8-9 years old. So, ayan it's again, it's another character study. It's very nicely done. Of course, this world is a world without men. Sometimes not by choice. And of course, the mother has problems with raising 2 kids alone. The other one is dealing with, the usual teenage things. And the youngest one is dealing with her own peers' problems at school and her own, imaginations as growing well. So, gusto ko lang yung tone niya. I like the tone. I like how they fleshed out these characters nicely. They really feel like a family. It's nothing. Yeah, there are some of the other sea shorts in this festival. They other than the theme of identity, they're also dealing with they give us little snippets of life in the countries that they were shot in. For like this film, the Age of Youth, which is I think a Myanmar film. Yeah, Age of Youth is a Myanmar film, or the Thailand film, Dauvikarn or Bangkok Department. So those kinds of films, just little snapshots of life in these interesting places. Pero they're about ordinary people going through ordinary things, which I think is very interesting. So have you seen I Took a Nap and I Miss You? No?
I didn't. Ikaw, Jim?
Have you seen it, Jim?
Napanood ko siya. Okay naman siya.
What did you think,
Sa
Jim?
akin.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's a beautiful short film about character style. So nakita natin yung differences ng 3 babae. And then actually may pinakita nga ditong generation gap. Especially with the mother, syempre iba yung generation niya.
Yeah.
I'll assume na she's from Gen X and then the anak niya is from yung pangaling na babae,
Young millennials, that's Gen.
Mga Gen Z ata or millennial Tapos yung talagang yung bunso talaga yung Gen Z. So may mga differences sila, especially with the mother, di ba, na din-discuss regarding nakita niya yung anak niya, yung love, ganyan. And then how she deals with grief. Lalo walang asawa na if I recall correctly dun sa short film, namatay, di ba? Namatay yung asawa. So,
Yeah.
nahirapan siya to raise yung dalawang anak
Yeah.
niya.
Lalo na
Although
in Singapore yan. Yung cost of living sa Singapore is very high. So, I guess kumakayod yan. Given siguro the pandemic pa. Though I doubt pandemic era pa rin to.
If I recall correctly nga rin, pandemic yung setting. So talagang ramdam mo yung angst ng mga character eh.
Yeah.
Kasi di ba nandun yung, gets mo yung worry ng nanay. Ganon din naman yung yung angst ng panganay na anak. And the younger one is having an imaginary friend.
That's true.
So talagang grabe yung, alam mo yun, nandun yung part na mararamdaman mo yung may adjustment sila sa isa't isa, but they need to stay together.
Yeah,
Kasi
may kanya-kanyang coping mechanism.
Oo eh. Kasi kailangan nila dahil pandemic and at the same time, wala silang aasahan na lalaki sa bahay. I'm not saying that na tawag ito kasi we're in the world of #MeToo, di ba? Pero iba pa rin pag may lalaki talaga sa bahay. Kasi syempre, iba yung role eh. Nandun yung pinag-uusapan yung gender roles. May gender roles din dun sa the short film.
I guess yun yung the fact that, it's still a family member that they lost. Nanay man yun or tatay. It's still a big thing din for a family. It's a seismic shift, kumbaga. But mamatayan ka ng this large family member in your family. Yun. So anyway, yun. Let's go on to the next film. This one is a film from Myanmar. It's called The Song of Trisha. So there is about this Trisha driver. Parang ano ba siya? Tricycle?
Oo,
Parang
pedicab.
ganun, no?
Pedicab.
Yeah,
Oo,
pedicab
pedicab
driver.
sa kanila.
Parang ganun.
Oo.
Singer, driver, and songwriter.
Yes.
He writes these songs. He uses his earnings to, make his own music. But it comes to clash with yung demands from the music industry on him. So yun, who'd like to talk about this film, A Song of Trisha?
Yes. Ako nagustuhan ko si Song of Trisha. Si Hito, tama ba? Pronunciation. Si Hito. Actually, spoiler alert guys, trivia din. Siya, totoong Trisha driver pala yung
guy na yun.
gumanap.
And talagang gumagawa siya ng music.
Oo. Actually, yung last song, siya yung nagsulat.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, yun. So, earlier, napag-usapan natin na para siyang budots. Sa akin, hindi ko siya nakita as parang budots. Kasi si budots parang dinisect yung origins ng budots, ganyan.
Tsaka,
dito kasi
yung nature ng budots kasi it's an earworm. Para siyang it's one of those kinds of parang filler-ish na kanta.
Phenomenon.
Oo. Pero ito naman yung tipong alam mong seryosong kanta talagang ginagawa.
Oo.
Which
Pero
is
tama naman yung point din ni Jim na it would remind you of the story behind budots. Pero ito naman, it gives you a glimpse of a Trisha driver na very ambitious siya. Pero parang hindi lang siya hinihinder ng music industry. Pero kumbaga, pati yung yung journey niya to become a songwriter din. Kasi it's very interesting na parang hango rin talaga siya sa totoo niyang experience as a singer-songwriter / Trisha driver. So yun. So maganda yung pagkakagawa niya. Akala ko nung nabasa ko yung synopsis, medyo kukornian ako sa song. Pero in fairness naman parang wow, pala siya. Very emotionally driven yung pelikula. Tapos at the same time, kahit na hindi niya pinatagal yung buong palabas, medyo I actually felt bad for the Trisha driver, especially na parang wow, you write songs for these people and alam mo yun, hindi siya yung sumisikat for it. Na para lagi siyang stepping stone ng ibang tao, pero he never had that kind of success for himself. So I guess yun yung yung film, may pagka-documentary siya in a sense kung talagang based siya sa buhay ni Hito, di ba? In a way. So, nicely put, it's a very interesting story. Tsaka yun nga, I think si Chard yata yung nagsabi sa atin, Laos ba yun or Myanmar? Or is it the same? Na wala masyadong pelikula from that country. So
Wala
to
masyado.
see if, so yun, parang ang ganda na, alam mo yun, hindi siya yung parang influence ng Western masyado.
Yes.
Yung backdrop ng story. So, yeah.
Yun. Jim? Any more thoughts before we move on to the final film?
Kaya kasi nabanggit ko kanina yung Budo. Pero another na pwede mong makita sa kanya is yung Inside Llewyn Davis. Diba? Kasi parang sa Inside Llewyn Davis, as a singer, diba? Na parang may potential, pero hindi nakikita ng mga right people yung yung potential or yung talent. Kaya parang walang opportunity. In a Song of Three show, sadly, kahit na talented siya, driven, diba? And ma-amaze ka dun sa dun sa tawag dito, dun sa on how he continues to pursue his dream kahit na walang naniniwala, diba? Yun yung heartbreaking, relatable yun kahit sa kahit kanino, diba, na kapag nangarap tayo, may part walang maniniwala, minsan ang top na yung potential, diba? Hindi nakikita ng mga right people at hindi nabibigyan ng right opportunity. Sadly, yun yung nakita natin sa Song of Three show. Kulang sa suporta, let's say the government, diba? So, yun yung magandang pinakita sa Song of Three show.
Diba yung may isang scene, sorry last time, may isang scene doon na talagang naawa ako sa kanya, yung kinakanta ng girl yung song niya. Parang narinig mo yun yung pinarinig niya doon sa sa una niyang kausap na mahaba. Ito yung song ko, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos nung kinanta na yun ng girl, na yung girl sa studio, wala siya sa tono. So parang ikaw, yun.
Yun. Okay. So, that's it. Let's move on to the final film that we'll be talking about today. It's from Competition 5, the first film. Yeah, this is the latest short film by Peterson Vargas, starring Elijah Canlas and Cocoy De Santos. It's How to Die Young in Manila. Yun. Originally, was this part of SGIFF last year? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, last year.
Singapore International Film Festival. Not yet screened in the Philippines until now, technically. Kasi, you can watch
It's also,
so this film is about this teenage boy played by Elijah Canlas. He follows a group of mga hustlers, thinking one of them may be the anonymous hookup that he arranged for the night. So he's not sure kung sino dun sa mga lalaki, if at all, yung kanyang magiging ka-date for the night. And then while he meets them one by one, something weird happens. Ganun na lang sabihin natin. So, sige Jim, ikaw muna. Ako yung huli na lang. What do you want to say about How to Die Young in Manila?
Kasi kilala naman natin yung dalawa, diba? Sumikat kasi yan sa
Game Boys. Game Boys Death
Game
Edition.
Boys, the series. Ano to? Game Boys Halloween.
Halloween edition. Magandang Gabi Bayan Special. Ayan. Game Boys Magandang Gabi Bayan Special.
Oo. Kasi parang interesting na siya agad. Intriguing siya ng guna na Elijah Canlas naghahanap ng ka-hook-up niya, di ba? Somewhere in Manila. Pre-pandemic kasi ito, di ba, Shino? If I recall correct.
Yep.
So, syempre nasanay tayo ng Game Boys na light lang, ganyan. Kasi ito, dark siya. Dark limit ng mga short film na ito. Tapos syempre nakita rin natin yung mga other hustler like yan sila Mixel Mendez from El Stranger, diba? Si Kitch Minimoto and then Game Boys din. So while watching it, di ba nung nakikita na niya na unti-unti, namamatay yung patay, dead na yung yung kasama ni Kokoy. Parang nasa isip ko, ito ba ay metaphor sa AIDS? Or EJK? Diba? Kasi nandun yung yung part na mga bata pa sila, so they're risking their lives.
How to die young.
Oo. To survive, diba? They're
Oo.
doing, they're doing risky, or they're
Walking
risking their
corpses.
lives to survive here in Manila. Alam naman natin na may mga ganyan talagang story, especially sa technique, diba?
Interesting nga na ang dami niyang levels din, Jim, no? Na tama ka, ang iniisip ko kasi dyan is either is a metaphor for EJK, it's also a metaphor for, well, not only AIDS, pero the general danger of sex work. Diba?
Yes.
Kasi parang sex workers receive a lot of violence from their customers, diba? And since there is parang it's the Wild West dyan, kasi technically it's illegal, but no one's looking out for it. Parang hindi quote-unquote regulated, if that's the right word to say. I'm not sure. Pero yun kaya puno ng mga bangkay yung streets of Manila. It can be viewed, merong isang scene doon na si Kitsch ba yun, yung parang yung nag-argue sila, parang tas biglang nung pabalik into the background, meron ng patay na katawan doon.
Yan yata yung Kitsch. Or
Si Kitsch ba yun? Kasi isa sa
parang
kanila.
may part doon na dyan, yung inano siya ni Miguel Almendras.
Ayun yata, si Miguel Almendras.
Miguel Almendras, hindi pagkakita niya, may patay na.
May patay na doon sa street. So, it also, if it's an EJK allegory, it also speaks to the way na normalized na yung Kasi hindi pinapansin ng ibang tao na may bangkay. Wala silang pake. Pasang, may patay. Okay. Parang na-normalize na yung death and destruction nangyari sa
parang nagkaroon ng apathy.
Yeah, apathy. That's a good.
Apathetic na yun.
It's a good word for it. Yeah. So, yun It's an interesting film.
Yes.
In the end, nahanap pa rin niya ang kanyang baby. Charot. Nahanap niya pa rin si baby.
Naloka lang ako sa kumakarabadyo muna si Kokoy de Sangka. Parang kumakarabadyo.
Caravaggio. Well. Anyway, yun. Ses, napanood mo yung How to Die Young? Hindi, no? Hindi ba?
Hindi.
Pero, yun.
Pero alam pa palabas siya.
When?
Somewhere.
Yan. Watch out for it. It's nice. It's nice. If you're a fan of this love team, wow, love team.
Yes.
If you're a fan of this love team, go.
Ito po ang nag-iibang Game Boys.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to know your reactions to it. To our 6 listeners ng Third World Cinema Club. So with that said, that ends our short, discussion of the films of Sea Shorts. It's the film festival just concluded, so you can't see the films anymore, unfortunately. Pero you can watch out for the films you just watch, maybe in future film festivals, and hopefully next year in 2022, Sea Shorts will come back. Their website, if you want to know more about the films, is seashorts.org. And I guess that's it. So until next time, thank you for listening. We will feature on our next Third World Cinema Club. We'll have Paolo Contis. Charot. Charot lang. A faraway land. Joke lang. Susunod.
Sir, sino yung kasama mo dun sa Benguet?
Sino yung kasama sa Benguet, ha? Ay, nako, matay tayo.
Agad-agad. Sino yun, sir?
How to Die Young in Manila. Third World Cinema Club Edition. Mga bangkay na tayo sa Charot lang. Pero yun. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye!